Now onwards we are starting heat. Okay, thermal property. Thermal means heat properties or temperature properties of matter. Lower classes you learn that heat and temperature are different things. Temperature means the degree of hotness or coldness in a body. Temperature does not represent how much heat does it contain. A body may may contain more amount of heat, may contain less amount of heat. So they are different things. What are the SI unit? What is the SI unit of temperature? What is the SI unit of temperature?
Kelvin.
Kelvin. And other units you don't know, degree Celsius and degree
Celsius.
Fahrenheit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit. Do you know the formula of converting degree Celsius into Fahrenheit and all?
F by 9 plus 32, something.
Hmm. It says that write on the formula C by 5 is equal to F minus 32 by 9. This is the formula of changing. This thing you have done in lower class 8 and 9, you used to do this. A revision of that. And how do we change in Kelvin? You know, the changing in Kelvin is plus 270 from degree Celsius. Okay. This formula you know. Okay. Just to have a knowledge only, at which temperature both Celsius and Fahrenheit degree Celsius, Fahrenheit degree height temperatures are equal. What is that temperature which is equal in both Celsius and Fahrenheit scale? Do you know the value? Do you remember? Just have a knowledge. We will not emphasize on this part. Okay, we have done in lower class. Tell me fast. Say fast. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Do you know which? Anybody? The answer is minus 40 degrees. You have done in the lower class also. At minus 40 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit. This is the temperature. Okay, and it's very easy to calculate. C value and F value are equal. You can take each one as X and calculate it. Your answer will come minus 40. Okay? I will not go to that, but just you have to know this. This is a general knowledge type of thing. No? So minus 40 degrees Celsius is minus 40 degrees Celsius is same as minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Or the value of temperature is minus 40 degrees, which is equal in both Celsius and Fahrenheit. Okay. You know, a hot body loses heat and a cold body gains heat. Till when? Tell me. One hot body loses heat and a cold body gains. Till when? Up to what extent they can lose and they can gain heat, or exchange of heat will take place? Please share now if you know. Ankit. Hello. Hare. A hot body loses heat and a cold body gains heat till both the body reaches a constant temperature. Till both the body reaches a constant temperature. You know this or you don't know?
So no, sir, I knew.
Huh?
Sir,
You knew it.
I thought. Sir, I didn't know.
Yes. Okay. I think you have done in class 10 also, no? Principle of calorimetry. Heat lost by a body, hot body is equal to heat gained by a cold body. And when both the body reaches a constant temperature or common temperature, then no more exchange takes place. The phenomenon of achieving the constant temperature is called thermal equilibrium. We say that both the bodies are in thermal equilibrium. That means no more exchange of heat will take place between them. And we call it thermal equilibrium. So there is a law, write on the zeroth law of thermodynamics. Zeroth law of thermodynamics. Zeroth law of thermodynamics. Okay, you can write down, right? When two bodies A and B are separately in thermal equilibrium with a third body C, when two bodies are, write down, when two bodies are separately, when two bodies A and B, you can add that, when two bodies A and B are separately in thermal equilibrium with a third body C, comma, then the bodies A and B are in thermal equilibrium with one another. Then the bodies A and B are in thermal equilibrium with one another. Then the bodies A and B are in thermal equilibrium with one another. I'll just explain to you. Suppose we are having a body C. A is in thermal equilibrium with C, and B also is in thermal equilibrium with C. Then A and B will be in thermal equilibrium. Then A and B will be in thermal equilibrium with one another. This statement is called zeroth law of thermodynamics. Zeroth law. You know, zeroth law tells you what I said. A hot body loses heat. You can say that only when a hot body loses heat and a cold body gains heat, till both the body reaches a thermal equilibrium, or till both the body reaches a constant temperature. This statement is called zeroth law of thermodynamics. You may have objective type question coming, you know, like MCQ. Like the phenomenon of thermal equilibrium is related to which law? You say zeroth law of thermodynamics. That option you have to choose. Understood? This is same as, you know, I just give one example. Room. Inside the room, what is the temperature? We say room temperature. All the objects inside the room, they all will have same temperature or not? Answer is yes. Inside the room, everything else will have same temperature. I mean, non-living things I'm talking about. Okay, not our body, that is a different thing. Because here water is there, so water is exchanging heat. There is exchange of heat inside our body, but talking about non-living things, such mechanism is going on, so all will be at same temperature. All the articles inside the room are at the same temperature. What is the temperature of this board? You say same as the room temperature. What is the temperature of this calendar? Same as that one. What is the temperature of the table? Same as that one. All will be at the same temperature. They all are in thermal equilibrium. This is only called zeroth law of thermodynamics. Okay.
Sir, why is the A arrow directed towards B? Sir, there in the diagram.
No, I'm saying if A is in separately equilibrium with C, B also is separately equilibrium with C.
Yes,
Then both A and B will be also in. Where? This one?
A is more hotter than B.
No, they all are having same temperature.
So then why
I'm
arrow is pointing towards B?
Flow. I'm not saying heat flow. I'm saying thermal equilibrium. If A has this arrow doesn't mean, if you are confused, then give arrow. Okay. The dynamic says if A and B are separately in thermally, C also in thermal equilibrium. Don't think that the heat is flowing from here to here. Heat is not flowing only because the temperature is set. We are in thermal equilibrium. Exchange of heat is not taking place. Understood? Hello? Yes, Ankit. Hello? No response. Hello? Am I audible? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Understood what I'm saying? I'm saying when a body A and B are separately in equilibrium with C. What is the meaning of thermal equilibrium? That is A and B are having same temperature separately with C. Then A and B also will have same temperature. I'm saying that. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, next part of this chapter is thermal expansion. Thermal expansion. Okay. Thermal expansion. Thermal expansion. You know, when we heat a substance, expansion takes place, and when we cool it, contraction takes place. This thing you have done in the lower class, we are doing it faster, but it is there in the syllabus, that's what you have to do. There are three types of expansion: linear expansion, superficial expansion, and volume expansion or cubical expansion. Number one is linear expansion. Linear expansion. Number two is superficial expansion, or we call it area expansion. And third one is volume expansion or cubical expansion. On heating a substance, if there is a significant change in its length, it is called linear expansion. Linear expansion can be at alpha. Alpha is called coefficient of linear expansion. I think last time I had discussed, but once again. Coefficient of linear expansion, or we call it linear expansivity. Linear expansivity. Alpha is a fractional change in the length, that is equal to fractional change. Fractional change in length per degree rise of temperature. Per degree rise of temperature. It tells you that how much fraction of the length will change, or by what percentage the length will change for 1 degree Celsius rise of temperature. Some materials, it depends upon the nature of the material, substance. Some by nature expand more, some will expand less. So alpha formula we write like this: changing the length per original length per degree rise of temperature. So this original length we can write as LO. Next time we can write like this: alpha is equal to change in length, we'll find this way: final length minus original length is equal to L0 theta. You can make L the subject, the value of L will become alpha naught 1 plus alpha theta. After arranging it, this is the formula. What is the unit of alpha? Unit will be only per degree Celsius minus 1. Per degree Celsius minus 1 or Kelvin minus 1 or K minus 1 per Kelvin. Per degree Celsius or per Kelvin is the unit for alpha. Okay? Understood? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Please do this. Next one, number 2, you write down. You can remember the formula either this way or this way or this way, any one way. Changing delta in L means changing the length. That means final length minus original length. Final length is L and original length is L naught. By alpha theta, and on arranging it, you will get this result. Number two is called superficial expansion. Superficial expansion, and this is denoted by the symbol beta. Here we write beta, and we call it coefficient of superficial expansion. Coefficient of superficial expansion. Here we write fractional change in area. Fractional change in area per degree rise of temperature. And the formula will slightly change. This will become beta is equal to change in the area. So here I'll write delta A by original area per degree rise of temperature. L will be replaced by A. Here we will be writing A minus A naught by A naught theta. Here also L is replaced by A, that A equal to A naught. Here we write 1 plus beta theta. Like this. And the SI unit of beta will be same unit. Alpha, beta, gamma, all the three coefficients will have same unit. Only formula will change and the meaning will change. Superficial is area-wise expansion. Fractional change in area per degree rise of temperature. If you know one, you will know the others. That is the idea. Okay? Done?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
Third one is called cubical expansion. Cubical expansion denoted by gamma. This is denoted by the symbol gamma. And we call it coefficient of cubical expansion. Can you guess what kind of cubical is volume? What change will take place now? Gamma will be fractional change in volume. Fractional change in volume per degree rise of temperature. The formula will change. Now this will come delta V upon V naught. Here we will be writing V minus V naught by V naught theta. And beta will change with the symbol gamma. Gamma, here also gamma. And this formula also will change. This becomes gamma equal to gamma naught 1 plus gamma theta, like this. So this is volume, so V equal to V naught 1 plus gamma theta. If you know one definition, you know all the three. So how many type of coefficients of expansions are there? 3 of them, alpha, beta and gamma. Okay? We have 3 types of expansion, alpha, beta and gamma. Alright. Now, how are the 3 expansions related to one another? There is a formula for that. Okay, there is a derivation also, but derivation is not in syllabus. We will write like this: alpha by 1 is equal to beta by 2 is equal to gamma by 3. This is a relationship between the 3 expansions. That means beta is 2 times of alpha, gamma is 3 times of alpha. Beta means area, area means meter square and all. The beta value will be twice of alpha, and gamma means meter cube, so power is 3. So 3 times of alpha. 3 times of alpha. So this is the relationship between all the 3 types of expansions. Alpha and beta are only applicable for solids because solids only have length, solids only have area. But gamma is applicable for all the three states of matter, means solid, liquid, and gas. Liquid also will have volume, gases also have volume, and alpha also will, solid also will have volume. So gamma is applicable for all the three. Okay, now just try to understand liquids, expansion of liquids, expansion of liquids. Liquid has three types of expansion. One is called apparent expansion. Apparent expansion. I'll just explain to you, just understand. Other one is real expansion. Real expansion. And next one is anomalous expansion. Anomalous expansion. I think you must have heard or you must have learnt about anomalous expansion. I think in lower classes you have learnt. Have you learnt it in the lower class? Anomalous expansion?
Of water.
Water shows anomalous expansion. Liquid shows anomalous expansion, and water is the common example, very common example. Okay, anyway, what is apparent expansion? You just try to understand about it. Apparent expansion. Let us take some liquid in a container. Maybe this kind of container we are having. We are having some liquid in it. Some liquid in it. In a measuring cylinder. Suppose initial level is 10 cc, 10 centimeters cube. Before the liquid is being heated. Okay, now what I will do, I will heat up. I'll supply heat. I'm heating it. I'm heating it. When I heat, what we will observe, we see the liquid expands. The volume of the liquid will increase. After some time, we see the liquid level comes here. Liquid level comes and becomes 20. After expansion, it is becoming 20 cc. How much is the volume expansion? Can you tell me how much is the volume expansion? By how much the volume of the liquid is expanding? Tell me. Hello?
The change in
Initial
water.
level was 10. Initial level was 10 cc. Now the new level becomes 20. How much is the expansion in the volume? Minus this minus this. What is the answer?
10 cc.
10 cc, no? This is called apparent expansion. This is the expansion which it appears to us. But actually what is happening, I'll tell you about that. Once you supply heat, first the container expands itself. First the container itself will expand. Will it expand or not? Tell me. This is solid, no? Container is made up of solid. Solid also will expand. When the solid will expand, what will happen to the water level at first? Will be falling down. Am I right or wrong? Tell me. When the container expands, water level will go down or will not go down? Tell me.
It will go down.
It will go down. So when you will be heating, the water level goes down to, suppose, because of the expansion of the container, it's going down to 8 cc. Now the new level becomes 8 cc. Now from once the container expands to its maximum, there is a maximum capacity of expansion. After that, it will not further expand. Once the container expands to its maximum capacity, then the level of liquid will now start rising. Now it becomes 20. How much is the actual expansion of the liquid? Can you tell me what is the actual expansion? Actually, 8 cc is becoming 20. It's not 10 cc becoming 20, but it's 8 cc is becoming 20.
12 degrees, 12 cc.
12 cc, yeah. That is called real expansion. Then this real expansion means the expansion of the liquid plus expansion of the container. Have you understood? Say fast, otherwise I'll explain again. Say fast. Boys. Should I repeat or it's okay? Understood?
So it's okay.
Understood, no? That means we write that its real expansion is equal to, we write that its real expansion will be equal to apparent expansion plus expansion of the container, right? Expansion of container. Expansion of container. Container. Formula by we write as gamma R, which real expansion is equal to gamma A plus gamma of the container. This will be write as equation. Which expansion is bigger? Which real expansion is bigger than the apparent expansion? Apparent expansion means we are just seeing initial level of the liquid and the final level of the liquid. But it is going on after meeting that part we are not bothering, we are not seeing. That is called apparent expansion. Apparent expansion means only the expansion of the liquid. And real expansion means the expansion of the liquid as well as the container. So your answer came 12 because the 10 plus 10 cc becomes 20 cc, that means 10 cc here, and container is expanding by 2 cc. So this is the formula between real expansion or relationship is real expansion and the apparent expansion. This is the formula. Okay? Say fast.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tomorrow I will be doing more the anomalous expansion a little bit. This chapter is basically theoretical, or maybe 1 or 2 problems I will do and then start the new topic tomorrow. Okay, this much we do. So just have an idea only. Now the things will be short only, and then only have to have basic idea only, that much. Basic idea only you need to have. Okay? Thank you, boys.
Thank you, sir.